Okay, sorry about that, guys. Had to delete a few videos to make room because I had too much on this thing. By the way, one of the things that Apple does not tell you when you buy an iPad, no matter what they say, this sucker is waterproof to some degree. I have dropped it in creeks, I have dropped it in the river, I have dropped it in all kinds of places where I did not expect it to survive. And it survived. I picked it up, I dried it off, and these are all watery environments, I mean. I've even dropped it down a few bouncy areas, and I thought to myself, oh no, it's not going to do very well as far as the brain is not going to fire back up, and it fired up. Anyway, so enough about fitness. Now I'm crawling through the thicket. Oh, and I can feel frozen stuff underneath my feet that's cracking besides just the brush. Incidentally, I left Thad inside. He wanted to come out with me, but I decided today was not a day for him to come for a walk. I love to bring him for walks, but when it snows, because he's mostly black, the well-dressed tuxedo cat, I just like to leave him inside because he sticks out too much, and if we get separated, predators can see him in this stuff. So, alright, I made my way to the little trail, and I'm heading back into the woods, or into my woods on this side of the property. Lots of puddles that have to be filled in. These kinds of things, just so you know, when I see them this time of year, I am flagging them on a little survey map that I've created so that I know the areas that I need to go back through and fill in. And when I say when I fill in, I mean raise them up. Over down this way, where you see a path I've created, there's a couple of cabin starts I have. And for good reason, I'm going to keep them private for now. And in time, I will disclose why. I also have one going back through there in the backwoods. And now we're going to go back in here. And I'm just going to stop and listen for a second before I walk into the woods. Okay, you guys have seen me come through here before, but something I've learned is always to try to get my bearings. And I don't mean my bearings as far as my feet go, but my bearings as far as my hearing and my other senses. I want to tune in and acclimate to what's happening around me. It's just good sense and smart to do when you are in a woodsy environment. Since I don't come out here often, something's been walking through here, and oh, I have elk. See the front two and the back one? I think I have elk that's come through here. Yep, I see several of them. I thought they were deer at first, but the arrangement makes me think the elk have followed the trail through here. So, this is why I like to pay attention to what's around me. I don't like to startle them, and I don't like to have a situation where they startle me. And this morning, I did not bring a sidearm with me, so I am going blind, and I hope my famous intellectual skills. By the way, guys, I don't know if you can see across the way in the middle of your screen. You can see the edge of my cabin there. I'm on the other side of it. That's the walk I have to take to get around to the other side of it. And I guess I could try to track it, but for giggles, I am going to let it be. What I will do, though, is I want to go this way. This is where I saw that buck that came up behind me that was being a little happy and curious about me. I never shot it because I put the, when I say shot it meaning videoed it, because I put the iPad down so I could grab a sidearm. I didn't know if it was going to get excited and come at me or not, but I generally, I guess I'm the kind of person that, I don't think you guys have seen this part of the property. Let's see here. Let me go up high. So this is the stream that comes through. This is part of the, oh, by the way, you see that area back over there under that cedar that's in between those trees? I am putting in, and I just found one, a wood-fired cedar and copper hot tub. I am going to enjoy having that thing over there, and I have to lug it in there. That's my only thing, but I found it. I just have to figure out which friends I can get to help me. But even if I don't get friends, I will find a way to do it myself if I have to, and get it back in there. Make a nice wood fire underneath the coils, and sit in a nice hot tub on a day like this. The one thing I do miss from leaving the city is my hot tub, the creature comforts of my hot tub. Let's go back this way and see what we have going on here. I'm going to go to the boundary, so I might have to do several of these. Or maybe I should go to the river instead. What to do, what to do, what to do. Where did I go last? Alright. Well, while I'm walking, I want to tell you something else that's going on in terms of health stuff. I was eating something the other day, and I was eating it on a paper plate. And what I did, or ended up doing, something has changed. You see this trunk here? This on the ground used to be attached to it. It has split and fallen. And there was a hole in it. Yep. You can see where something had made a burrow in it. You see that? I think it was either a woodpecker or a squirrel. I'm sorry, a chipmunk. I think it was a woodpecker. Had made a little burrow in it. And the tree finally gave. I'm going to flip it back over. They obviously no longer live there, but you can see again that hollow in there. One of the things you should do when you come through your property is be aware and alert of little changes. For many reasons I won't get into, but just be aware of the changes that happen around you, things that fall. For example, as I'm walking through, I'm actually looking up at what I call widowmakers. I don't want the snow to pile on something, crack it, and have it drop on my head, because then, well, there'll be no widow, but there'll be a dead dude in the woods here with nobody to come get me and no way to signal for help. So, oh, you hear things falling, but there's no wind. So, okay, that way is blocked, and that way it's kind of blocked too, but I'm going to go through it anyway. The other way I can do this is to crawl up into that thicket you see and walk along inside of the cedars. The cedars have kind of created a little lane. I can pick my way through there instead of the trail that I had opened up. Incidentally, I'm going to be posting very shortly on my Facebook site a link to a story I've been writing called The Lands of Log Hollow. It's a mythical story inspired by these lands I'm on right now. I have divided them up into 12 habitats, and it's a mythical story about a fairy princess who has the task of finding what's called a human language reader. Now, in the mythical story, language readers are the ones who maintain the arcs of communication between the different kinds or the different species. So they, the human language readers, have a way of talking to the forest dwellers and keeping balance in existence. So as we go through as humanity and we tear up the forests, or as we, harvest forest land to the materials in the forest environment to serve our needs, we create instability for the forest dwellers. And this is a story that talks about the challenges of the two, humanity and the forest dwellers, and talks about a third way of how the arcs of communication can be maintained, the struggle the forest dwellers had in trying to identify a human language reader. There's something in the story called mother-ilds. These are the motherless children of humanity, as we call them, orphans. And then in the forest world, they're called mother-ilds. And the forest world sends its mother-ilds into humanity in what we call our zoos, because if you think of a zoo, right, there is, those animals are there. They're not going anywhere. And so the idea is I've created links between things we take for granted in our living world and combined theories of how the animal world sees it. And I've created these interesting and fun connections. And so it's called the tales of, or the told tales of the lands of Log Hollow. And fingers crossed, I would like to publish it sometime in the spring or summer. It's aimed for young adults and adults alike. Something that can be read chapter by chapter to kids, or just read as, summer reading. Again, for young adults. It's very mythical. It's got fun things like a fairy princess that wears glasses. I'll tell you something funny. I was at a children's school doing a talk, and there were these three girls, and they were, arguing about, a play that was coming up or something, and, one of them wanted to play the fairy princess, and the other two said, "You can't play the fairy princess. Fairies don't wear glasses." And I thought, I never thought about that. And I went back and I checked, and sure enough, there weren't any fairies that wore glasses. So I decided to write a story where the main character was a fairy princess who wore glasses. And she is actually the leader of what's called the Council of Wives. And they together are responsible for finding the next human language reader. And, oh, you didn't see it, but there went a Widowmaker. Just dropped from up there. You could see the trees bouncing. Well, it's kind of stopped, but... Oh, snow. See, that's the stuff I have to watch for. The stuff above my head here. Just have to make sure that I'm not going to be made a, what. Oh, I've got a fence that's down that I have to come fix. I've put this thing up 3 times and it keeps coming down. You see it? The grid down here? I'm at my fence line. You can tell by the pink and blue tags. There you go. So I need to come back and put this up. I didn't really do a good job of it anyway because this part is out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway it goes. So, again, the Tales of the Lands of Log Hollow goes into all these wonderful, I think wonderful, areas. I'm going to stop and start over.